Fe4RLess was one of the most loved YouTubers ever, averaging 40 to 50 million views on every video he posted while having an incredibly loyal fanbase. But on the peak of this success, he left the internet without a warning or even an explanation. What causes a person who seemingly had it all to suddenly abandon it? But most importantly, when is Fe4RLess coming back? Now, a lot of the videos on the topic are mostly purely speculative without any concrete info or proof. So tired of this and wanting an answer, I decided to dig on my own, looking through hundreds of videos and hours of livestream footage, sorting through rabbit holes of posts and articles, and even getting an interview with someone who knew Fe4RLess personally. And all of this being done to ultimately give you the truth on why Fe4RLess disappeared. But first, what did we already know about his disappearance? Starting off by watching every single video on the topic to get a rough understanding of the situation, I noticed one common thing throughout all these videos. There was barely any information on the topic, and taking into account that Fe4RLess has over 10 million subscribers, this was odd to say the least. Why was that? But here is what I was able to gather from these videos. Of course, there was the obvious fact that his upload schedule had not been great to begin with him uploading an average about once every 4 to 5 months before his disappearance. But 3 years is absolutely absurd even for him, and ironically made the death rumors seem not too extreme. That until this bit of information. You see, there were 4 things pointing towards that Fe4RLess was still alive and even active on his channel. First of all, a year ago he was spotted playing random duos with someone who was actually able to question Fe4RLess on his whereabouts, which you've probably already seen, and besides, was over a year old. Secondly, Fe4RLess's handle on his main channel was changed manually. Normally, when YouTube changes a username automatically, it has random numbers and letters as seen on Fe4RLess's second channel. However, his main channel now has a clean customized handle, indicating he changed it himself recently. Third of all, a couple of weeks ago Fe4RLess was caught updating his playlist on his main channel, which he quickly privated right after. And lastly, he updated his TikTok profile picture only a few weeks ago. So at least we know for certain he's alive and well. But what is causing him not to upload? This is where the real digging began, and here is where things started to get actually interesting. You see, a popular theory floating around regarding his disappearance was that he has simply lost interest in playing Fortnite and had quit. But was this actually true? Now, Fe4RLess was known for changing his name a lot, so the usernames in his previous videos were probably not being used, so I had to think out of the box. First, I found the most recent piece of content Fe4RLess was in and playing Fortnite. Then I compiled all of these usernames and began searching them one by one on Fortnite Tracker. What I knew for certain was that all of these names were owned by Fe4RLess, since he had mentioned it in a previous video. But one after the other, no account had been active, except one, Fe4R, having even played in Chapter 5. If all of the other accounts were owned by Fe4RLess and only one was playing, I could safely conclude that it was actually Fe4RLess. Another popular theory was that it was hard to get content on Fortnite because the game had barely any noobs left, which was a very common thing Fe4RLess's videos would revolve around. Plus, Fortnite had removed a bunch of the more unusual items, which made for great content.
A lot of the content that CD and Fe4RLess make involves them playing with newbie players or new players, or even running into like new players. And a lot of the content that some of these YouTubers and streamers focused on or made kind of revolved around some of the crazier items and more like out of the ordinary items, like the impulse nades, the shockwave nades, flint knock pistol, the balloons.
But this theory is quickly disproven when you realize that it was set like 2 years ago when Fortnite had a huge content drought and was at an all-time low. Since then, the game has actually become better for content, with a bunch of new unusual items, a bunch of events, many noobs returning with the OG season, and many people joining Fortnite for the first time because of its recent hype, and so on and so on. But if he was still active and even playing Fortnite, with the game having the most content it has ever had, why wasn't he uploading or even updating his fans on his whereabouts? The more I kept digging, the more things became confusing. However, Fe4RLess has 10 million subscribers, so there had to be someone who at least knew a little bit more than this. And now that I had some sort of an audience, I decided to put out a post asking if anyone knew something about the situation. So while waiting for a response, I decided to continue on my own search. And the best place to start, of course, would be Fearless's own channel. So I started from the bottom with his very first video. When Fearless initially began his channel, he was posting COD montages. The videos were kinda shitty, but over the next coming uploads, Fearless would drastically start improving his videos, whether that be by leveling up his editing, being more energetic and showing more personality, or even just getting better equipment to make the footage more high quality. And the views reflected this. Fearless would quickly get to 100,000 subscribers. He would continue posting his usual COD videos for a year or so, still pulling very solid views. But in 2018, things would start to take a turn, because that's when Fortnite first released. The game was getting a little bit of traction, nothing crazy, but Fearless was intrigued. COD and Fortnite were similar enough to the point where Fearless could continue posting the same style of videos he had done previously, like trolling noobs. And in many aspects, Fortnite was even better than COD, because it was a lot more suited for that type of playstyle, with for example a bigger map, way more play freedom, and items like the impulse nades. So Fearless would upload a video on the game, not thinking much of it. He was enjoying it, and that's all that mattered to him. But unknowingly, he had stepped into a gold mine. Fortnite explodes in popularity, and Fearless gets picked up with this hype train. He goes from 100,000 subscribers to 500k in a matter of weeks, and with nothing to lose, he made more videos. Aimbot 3.0, 58 million views. Season 7 oof, 63 million views, and Aimbot 2.0, 77 million views. At the money side of things, $500,000 in a single month. Fearless had made it. The only thing left to do at that point was just continue to ride the wave. But if that was to be the case, I wouldn't be making this video. Fearless was beginning to upload less and less frequently and began showing more weird signs. The uploads were still pulling insane amounts of views, now getting him over 1 million subscribers, but something genuinely felt off. And then, on the peak of this success, literally at the point where he was pulling more views than he had ever done before, he abandoned his channel without any explanation. And since that day, he hasn't uploaded anything for over 3 years. That is basically the story you see on the surface. But taking a deeper look into this, there was actually a lot more to the story that didn't meet the eye. First of all, as time passed, Fearless began sounding more depressed and was showing clear signs of the same thing as well. The first evident sign of this was back in November 2020, when a fan left a comment on a TikTok video made by Fearless. So when is your next vacation? Which Fearless responded to with, "Vacation? LOL, I wish this was a vacation. If only you knew my life, bro. Hinting at the fact that there was clearly something way more serious going on behind the scenes. But the nail in the coffin, which came as a total surprise to me, was this very recent comment by Lix, a friend of Fearless, seen in many of his videos, responding to a comment under his own video. "We used to play Val together, but he stopped gaming, so rip to that." What the fuck was that supposed to mean? Then who were we seeing earlier playing Fortnite? Was this an attempt to steer away attention from Fearless, or was he telling the actual truth? If so, what other reason is there to get on Fortnite during the OG season playing squads and duos other than to record a video? Or was that even Fearless at all? Now lastly, his last video before his disappearance was a Minecraft video. Why was that when Fearless was before only posting Fortnite content? And why is this even important in the first place? Well, as I mentioned earlier, before, Fearless was making videos because he was genuinely enjoying it. But soon, he began seeing insane view counts, of course resulting in more and bigger bread. At the same time this was happening, Fortnite's relevance was starting to decline, so Fearless began fearing that his own videos might underperform, as seen by this comment. So he started putting more effort into his videos, of course resulting in them taking longer to make, and in turn, making him upload less. And his last video is the perfect example of this. The video is on a trending topic, and you can clearly tell that Fearless isn't even enjoying the game. He didn't make the video because he enjoyed it, he made it purely to sustain views. But ironically, the video still ended up underperforming by Fearless's standards. More evidence to support this claim is the secret livestream Fearless did on his second channel, which is currently unlisted. In this stream, he was playing on Chapter 2 Season 3, and it was clear that he hadn't played Fortnite in a long time.
I don't know what this is.
But the important part is how he acted during the live stream. He was unusually nervous and anxious during it. This was due to the large viewership and pressure because of his long hiatus at that time as well. And in the same live stream, he also had this to say.
You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. All right. I don't want to get into it why I haven't been uploading stuff, but It's personal. I mean, a little bit. And then another thing is, it just like, it doesn't matter. What matters is I'm gonna upload it soon.
Further telling us that there was something very serious going on in his life. But this is not the only reason I bring up the livestream. You see, in this livestream was the real answer to why Fe4RLess hadn't uploaded. And it wasn't anything he said or did in it. You see, I had many times tried to reach out to Fe4RLess's friends for a comment. People like Licks and iPuts, which were in many of his videos. But none of them ended up responding. And those were for the most part the only people on Fe4RLess's videos to go off of. That's why when for a very brief moment, Fe4RLess had clicked on his friends tab in the livestream, I knew I had stumbled upon a huge opportunity. So I started searching the names in the tab to see if any of them had social media accounts. And one name stood out in particular. iSharks. Very YouTubey name, if that makes sense. So I searched him up, hoping I would find some sort of channel. But unfortunately, nothing much came up, except a Fortnite video by a completely different creator. I was kinda disappointed, but without any expectations, I decided to click on the video anyway, just to make sure. And I'm genuinely so thankful I did, because in this video was literally almost everyone I've talked about in this video, including iSharks, iPuts, Fe4RLess, all playing together.
No homo.
These videos, yeah there were multiple, completely flew under everyone's radar. Prior to this, no one had ever brought up this channel, and the most viewed video among them only had around 20,000 views. When I visited the guy's channel, I noticed he hadn't uploaded anything for over 3 years, which got me a little worried. However, in his About Me section, he had linked his Twitter account, and to my relief, upon checking it, I found he was still active with a very recent post talking about Fe4RLess. Yeah, I genuinely don't know how I got this lucky. But basically in this post, the guy had messaged Fe4RLess on his Discord, which he had deleted, congratulating him on hitting 10 million subscribers. Seeing that he was still active on Twitter, I left a reply to that post. Now, returning back to Discord, I was immediately bombarded with a bunch of DMs with info and theories regarding Fe4RLess, but probably the most convincing of them all was this theory. My theory is that Fe4RLess hasn't uploaded in a really long time. Evidence is in the image. I mean, he's not wrong, but for the most part, the stuff being sent was regurgitated information from Sunny V2's video or Cypher PK's theory about Fortnite content being harder to make, further showing how little info there really was on the situation. A very interesting theory though was this post. Fe4RLess shifted content because Fortnite died and uploads on another YouTube channel, still working on suspectable YouTube channels. Now, this theory does make sense. He would be able to upload without the enormous pressure of his brand, sustaining his income that way. But without any evidence, this theory is mostly baseless. But if that's not real, what is? The guy had actually seen the message I sent him. I immediately accept the friend request, and confirming right away that I had the right person and that he had contact with Fe4RLess, I start the questioning. But before that, he said this: "You probably won't be happy with the answers, and will probably think I'm joking." And you'll realize why he said that very soon. Okay, so how do you guys even meet in the first place? Well, as a kid, like I said, when I was 8 to 14, I lived in this city called and that was when BO3 was really poppin'. And I remember playing and my friend had his mic on and I was watching a YouTube video, and I low-key thought it was hella annoying because the guy in the video kept screaming and he sounded annoying. But anyways, my friend was laughing hella hard, so I asked him who that was, and he told me it was Fe4RLess and told me just to watch him. And later that night I decided to, and it was the funniest shit ever. I couldn't stop laughing, and his name was like engraved in my brain. So I kept hearing people around school say his name, and I asked my friends like, how does everyone know who he is? And they told me it's a rumor that he listens. And I was like, yeah, that's hella cap. But fast forward, and I walk home from school, and I go to the bakery and I order a blueberry muffin, and the baker sounded hella familiar. And when after a couple of minutes when he gave me the blueberry muffin, I finally realized that's Fe4RLess. And I was low-key begging him, asking him to play BO3 and teach me sniping, because I was a big noob, and he was hella shy and stuff. But then he said, okay, I'll talk to you after work. I get off in 20 minutes, and we can play later. So I sat down in one of the chairs, and I started eating, and I realized that this motherfucker gave me chocolate muffin. And I was hella mad low-key, but yeah, after he got off, we sat down and we exchanged phone numbers. And eventually he invited me to his Xbox party, and we started playing and becoming friends. And eventually I had to move out of due to family things. Bro, what the fuck is that? This was the most unbelievable and crazy backstory I had ever heard, but he actually backed it up with proof. Here were some of his DMs with Fe4RLess on Discord. Here was a video by Fe4RLess where he shouted out Pigo, and here was a video where they played together.
I don't trust you.
You're so...
So as a follow-up, I asked them this: is this how he looks like, or is it fake? Yeah, that's real. I have other pictures, but it's not cool of me to send without permission, you know? So now you guys know, this is how he looks like. Yes, the screenshots were real all this time. Moving further down in the convo, I asked him if he still had contact with Fearless, which he unfortunately didn't. But knowing Fearless previously very well, he still definitely had a lot of information. But now, for the question you've all been waiting for. Do you have any idea why he stopped making videos? And did he completely quit YouTube forever, or is he planning to return? And if so, when? Alright, to avoid any unnecessary yapping, I'll tie this last question into my own conclusion, to ultimately reveal the truth. So why did Fearless disappear? You see, the more I kept digging and uncovering information on the topic, the more I started seeing a pattern, one that's extremely common in the content creation field. Fearless was a perfectionist, so he needed to exceed the quality of each new video, resulting in every video taking more effort to make than the last, in turn increasing the mental load and friction to make a video with each new upload, which as time went on, of course became bigger and bigger. He also got too attached to the numbers and became extremely anxious, as seen in the livestream. And the more views he got, the more pressure he had on him to maintain that, and the worse his perfectionism got. And when he saw that the Minecraft video underperformed, which he probably didn't even enjoy making, and did it purely to sustain views, because Fortnite was falling off back then, most likely combined with the personal problems that he was dealing outside of YouTube, I think it ultimately led to a breaking point for him. And unfortunately, stories like this are not unique at all. Many creators like Makiam, Buffy, Mystery Or, Tifu, and Danny, which I've even made a video about, all faced extremely similar conditions. They were all perfectionists, dealing with other problems outside of YouTube, while the burnout kept piling up. So will Fearless ever return? One thing I left out previously was that sooner or later, almost all of these creators returned. After all, they all started content creation for a reason, and the burnout they previously faced eventually wears off, leaving them with that same spark and passion that originally drove them into content creation. Combined with the fact that Fearless is playing duos and squads on the new season, and this reply from Lux to a comment from a fan, I think it's safe to say that he at some point will come back. So yeah, that is basically it. And I hate to be that guy, but I genuinely would appreciate it so much if you subscribed. I probably spent more than 200 hours making this video, with it only being my third on the channel. And I promise you, the videos are only gonna get better from here on out. Thank you for watching.